Are you ready?
Agility from the champion. Oh, deep six! That could be a delivered this deep six.
All right.
Hey, there's dog.
Welcome to an episode. Welcome to the Aftermath. It's the first time I get to host this one. This is new. Welcome to the Aftermath. It is a Wayne Rivera production / Back Sports Page production / everything production. But guess what? WrestleMania Night 1 is in the books. For those who don't know me, and you're seeing Wayne as you always do, my name is Randy Zelli from Back Sports Page. Wayne Rivera here from the Aftermath podcast. Doug Kenneman from Back Sports Page, Jacob Walters from Back Sports Page, and Wayne Rivera is actually at the stadium, WrestleMania Night 1, just ending.
Let's go, everybody. Allegiant Stadium show just ended, and guess what? It is still light out.
It's still light out, and it looks empty in the parking lot. It looks empty in the parking lot, dude.
Let me tell you, there weren't a lot of people driving into this stadium. We got in so easy. A lot of the commuters came from the Strip, which is right behind me over here. All tourism. Everybody stays on the Strip. So basically, you just take the train, you walk right over. People, if you're staying on the Strip, you don't need a car over here. So,
well, Jacob,
not many cars.
Jacob, you live in Vegas, so you can probably attest to this. That you really don't need a car to get around Las Vegas. I've never been to Vegas. I'd be lying to you if I told you I knew how all this worked with being in Las Vegas. So you can fill us in on the fill in the cracks on that one.
Yeah, there's a lot of good public transportation options in Las Vegas, and you can get by Uber, taxi, even the RTC buses can get you anywhere that you need to go. So you really don't need a car. It's a lot better than, say, like, I'm from Michigan, and Metro and Detroit never had good public transportation options like Las Vegas did. So.
Oh, Jacob, how about the Zooks?
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. Yes.
Well, you know what's funny is you said the RTC. I thought you meant the OTC, and I was getting ready to do this. So I was about to raise my finger in the air.
Put your ones up. Exactly.
Stick your ones up right there. So guys, listen, like I said, WrestleMania in the books. For those who don't know me that well, Wayne had to send me a text right before we went on the air saying, "Hey, you got to be positive about the show." And I said, "I will do my 110% best." So let's get right to it. First off, Wayne, you were in the stadium. What was the atmosphere like? Obviously, it was a lesser crowd than last year's show. Talk to us about the vibe inside the stadium.
So, first off, being inside the stadium itself, for everything that the IWC is talking about, low ticket sales, I would say that night 1 did very well. I would say we were about 80 to 90% full. Great crowd on hand. Better than what everybody was making it out to be. And the vibe, the crowd was up all the entire night, especially during Gunther versus Seth Rollins, which we'll get into. But the crowd was great all night. Can't complain. It wasn't a Chicago crowd, not a Philly crowd or a New York crowd, but it was still a great crowd for sure.
The other question I have for you, because Jake and Doug, like me, you watched it on television. Wayne said the crowd was more electric. What was your opinion of coming through the crowd on television?
You want to go first? I have a few.
I'll go first.
So we gotta hear you. We gotta hear you. Let's go.
So it's the thing with the crowd, in my opinion. I mean, there were some good highlights, like when Seth Rollins was around. You could hear like the whoa, whoa throughout the match. They were electric in certain spots, but others, it felt like in certain spots, like the main event was quiet, but still, like you could hear like people singing along with Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes too. So it was. I changed a little bit on this. It was better than initially thought, so can't really complain too much about it.
Yeah, I think the stadium being, like Wayne said, it is still basically full. 50,000 people is nothing to sniff at, but there's still a lot more room in there, and I think the miking situation probably didn't help. From everything I've heard from people that are there, apparently it was great, but on my end, I had in my notes multiple times just completely dead crowds. Like Jacob said, there were a couple moments where people were pretty loud. Lyra's bird chant, they were pretty loud. Paige, they were loud as hell. Both the win and when she showed up. And but there was a lot of dead spots. Liv Morgan and Stephanie Vaquer, as soon as Judgment Day started interfering, it felt like the crowd died and felt like they hated the ending. And there was another. Most of the women's tag match, besides Paige, also felt dead, at least on TV.
Well, let's actually get started with the card, if it's okay with you guys. Let's jump right into it. The show started off with Logan Paul, Austin Theory, and IShowSpeed versus the Usos and LA Knight. Now, keep in mind this match was also aired on ESPN2, so you had a large audience getting a taste of WrestleMania for the first time on ESPN for free. So obviously they're going to put their best foot forward, have a crowd favorite like the Usos and LA Knight, and they had IShowSpeed, which is an internet sensation. And I would have thought the heels needed. I felt like because of the Vision needed they just needed a boost here. The Vision needed a boost here. I felt like they needed this win. They didn't get the win, and they ended up having IShowSpeed could put through LA Knight through a table. Guys, Wayne, I'll start with you from inside the arena. The crowd seemed a little hot for this, and it looked like they were having a lot of fun. In my eyes, I just felt like the aftermatch stuff, dragged on a little bit.
Yeah, the fans didn't seem to have any problem with it on our end inside the building. The crowd was very hot, especially because of the opening match. The crowd popped hard for IShowSpeed when he jumped off the top rope onto Logan Paul. So it had some key moments. Everybody was really, really into it, especially in our section, but the arena was loud. Yeah, I think the Vision should have came out on top just to keep that momentum rolling, but I'm not surprised. We picked the Usos to win. Just simple fact that the tag titles were not on the line here. So that kind of gave me the hint that the Usos would probably win this match.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun match. Jacob, feel free to jump in on this.
Oh yeah, watching that match, a lot of high flying action. I'm a little bit surprised by the ending with IShowSpeed. I mean, normally celebrities don't lose a whole lot at WrestleMania, at least back in the day. Like when Floyd Mayweather would win and all that. But this was a little bit of a surprise, a pleasant surprise to me. Don't get me wrong, but it was still like a decent match. It wasn't the most memorable, but it was decent. And you're going to see a lot of that theme tonight for tonight's WrestleMania. A lot of decent matches, like good matches.
Yep. Doug?
I thought it was fine. I expected the faces to win. It's the opener. I expected IShowSpeed to eventually turn on his teammates. I expected him to take a big bump. He did. It was awesome. He looked great doing the frog splash. That kid has like a cult following. They were cheering for him. They loved him. I'm not surprised. The stuff between the Usos and the Vision were pretty good. It was fluid. Yeah, there's not a lot to say about this one. It's just a pretty bog standard opener. Did what it needed to do.
Yep. I again, no argument there. All right, next up, Women's Tag Team Championship match. Nikki Bella not able to go. The Bella twins, of course, coming right off their viral moment with Wayne Rivera from their show. Wayne and the Bellas taking over the internet, ladies and gentlemen. Wayne, congratulations on your 5 minutes of fame. I actually appreciate that.
Yeah, so those of you guys that are watching, literally as soon as I got off the plane, within 5 minutes, the Bella twins were in my arms. I'm like, what is happening here? Like, I was stunned. Like I didn't, like, if you see the picture, like some people said I looked nervous. And yeah, I did look nervous. I was lost of words. But all I know is like, they were there. But the real viral moment was people, and I did not know this at all. People were, because I wasn't looking at Nikki Bella's feet when I was talking to them. So people noticed the boot, which matched really well with the pants. So I didn't know this went viral until maybe like an hour or two later. I'm like, what is happening? I got the alert with WrestleFeed. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Unbelievable.
Yeah, it
But-
went over to a lot of different sites. In fact, I said I messaged our good friend, Back Sports page friend Jonathan Coachman. I said, you know that picture of the Bella twins with that guy in the middle? He's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, that's my boy Wayne. He's like, tell him congratulations for me.
Even Jonathan Coachman knows. Wow, unbelievable.
Yeah, Coach,
That's awesome.
Coach knows the game, man. So obviously Nikki not able to go, which summons the return of Paige. Obviously, we've heard rumors for months that she was in negotiations with WWE. She was Saraya in AEW.
Big pop, by the way. Major pop.
Yeah, huge pop. I think that's your surprise for night one. Definitely. Here's my thing. Paige and AJ Lee, and we'll talk about AJ shortly. But I felt like they were dominant in the women's division when women's division wasn't as busy and populated as it is now. So their lack of experience or their sloppy ring work, which was able to be disguised back then, is a little bit more obvious now. I thought the match was fine. It did what it was supposed to do. It got people on the card. It gave you that okay, cool moment. But Paige is not long for being a babyface and not long for this world for a long period of time. Wayno, take us through the experience in the building, and then we'll go Doug and Jake.
Yeah, so the rumors were circulating for the past 2 or 3 days about Paige being the possibility of replacing for Nikki Bella if she wasn't able to make it. As noted,
you technically broke the story. You broke the story by taking a picture with her.
Yeah, by accident, but I did. Nikki Bella did not have a crutch on Thursday. She was walking just fine. Had the boot on as a precautionary, but not good enough to go for Sunday. Obviously, today she was selling it a little bit more than what she was in real life. So that I wanted to throw that little note in there. Paige got the biggest, one of the biggest, definitely top 3 pop of the night for sure. The fans were very excited, especially when we got that hot tag from Paige. The crowd erupted. What I liked about tonight is no match overdid its stay. Some people are saying the match is too short or too long. No match overdid its stay. And it was pretty, regardless of the match, every single match was pretty digestible, including the one that we got. Not to mention Nia Jackson, Lash legend, looking like Demolition, and not to Demolition. But that's pretty much what I got. No surprise, because I had the Bellas winning the tag titles to do their retirement run together. But maybe that's going to be on hold, or who knows if they follow through after all.
Doug.
I loved Lash here. I thought she looked great. I think every time we see her, she looks great. I think she looks better every single time. And I echo what Wayne said. My favorite outfits of the night, Lash and Nia looked great. Masks were awesome. Brie looked good. Everyone was good. In my notes, I have it was sloppy and chaotic, but in a good way. The good kind of chaos. There was a lot going on, but everyone was involved. I liked this match a lot better than I thought I was. I came in with no expectations. And they did a great job for the 9 minutes they got. They did great.
And I will say for Paige, this was a big moment for her. I mean, it definitely coming in. You can tell that this was a wave of emotions for her to come in and do what she did tonight. So props to her for knocking it out of the park.
Yeah, I give this a B. Or if you want to give it stars, I'll give this a solid 3 stars. I think it filled what it needed to do. By the way, the opening match, 2.5 stars for the 6-man. I'm going to give you the star ratings from my perspective. You guys can throw your star ratings or your grades out there the way you guys want to do it. I always like to do it with stars. For those who know me, so the opening match gets 2.5 stars out of me. This women's tag team match gives me 3 stars, mostly because of the surprise of Paige and for the if the hot crowd for it, and that's just my general feeling. So I think if the crowd wasn't as hot for Paige, then this probably would have been like a 2-star affair for me. But Paige gives it a 3rd star. Hey guys, I'm sorry I didn't do a good job on this one. I missed the match. Let's talk about Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre, or as I like to call it, the car wreck match. A little bit all over the place. I didn't understand the booking of Jacob Fatu winning this match. Because to this day, Drew still denies that he jumped Jacob Fatu months ago, and they never really went back to it. And when CM Punk, and you'll see the analogy when I go there, so I apologize that it's going to be a long-winded answer with this. But years ago, when CM Punk left, he got really, really angry because it's not that he wasn't working with top guys, similar to what Drew's doing, but he was losing to all the top guys. So in front of the common crowd, the non-every week crowd, Drew McIntyre is working as a good heel against a lot of these guys, but in the casual fan, he's taking nothing but losses. And this is yet another situation where he's taking a big loss on a big show to Jacob Fatu. Now, I hope they have plans for Jacob Fatu that you can build off of this. But Drew taking a big loss here, it didn't make a lot of sense to me. From my opinion, again, 3 stars because of all the chaos. Anytime you bring a toolbox into the ring, it's going to get a little cool. Wayne, take us inside the stadium for this one.
Yeah, so this was probably the quietest of the whole night was this match. I guess maybe you can call it the cool-off match of the night because everybody was so amped for the first one. So the second match kind of, came down quite a bit during Drew and Jacob. I believe they do have plans for Jacob Fatu. That's just my opinion from what I'm seeing. I just don't know if him working as a face is really working out. I really think he had better momentum as a heel. And I don't want to play the comparison game tonight by any means because it is WrestleMania. However, when you're doing a hardcore match, WWE needs to take some lessons from AEW without a doubt. We need to see blood. If there's weapons, we need to see blood. I don't think the blood should have been in the Randy Orton Cody match. But I think that would have been a little bit more appropriate during Drew versus Jacob Fatu for sure. I felt like the match was kind of just there. I wasn't bored. I was still in tune to what was going on, but there are certain things they could have done better. And I think Jacob needs to turn heel.
What do you give it star wise?
I'll give it about a 2.5.
Okay, that's fair. Either one of you guys want to jump in? Go right ahead.
I liked it a lot more. I agree with Wayne. I think this was way too tame for an unsanctioned match. I don't necessarily need blood, but I think I needed a little more than what we got here. I did like the stuff with the toolbox, calling back to Drew McIntyre and CM Punk's feud from last year. I thought that was a nice storytelling touch. Jacob looked great. The fire dancers were cool as shit. I thought they were great when he came out. I agree somewhat with Drew McIntyre that he really shouldn't be taking as many big losses as he has been, especially since he was just champ. But in this specific feud, he needed to lose to Jacob. Jacob is the one on the ascension and did a good job putting him over. I liked it a lot more than you guys. I gave it 3.25. 3.25 stars. The 6-man I gave 2 stars, and the women's tag I gave 3 stars, like Randy. So this is my favorite match of the night so far.
Hey, Doug, is that a cat you got in the background there?
That is.
We got all animals here. Look at that.
It's my girl.
By the way,
Yeah, we got animals on our podcast tonight.
We got Henry.
Yeah.
We got Henry.
And I got
here.
Rosie. This is my oldest kitty friend.
Nice.
We got Henry here too. Okay, Jacob.
Love it. Love it.
I will say that this was a match that I was expecting more of. I'm not gonna I'm gonna agree with you guys here too. There is a need for blood here, but there's also a need for like really good spots. Like I remember Mick Foley and Edge, like the table was on fire, and you go and spear Mick Foley through a table. Spots like that would have made this match a lot better, and I think that's what that match was missing. So I would probably give it, let's go with 3.25 stars out of 5.
Got it.
There's
Okay.
one thing I do want to bring up about that match. There was one spot I loved. I think the pop-up Samoan from Jacob to Drew just looked incredible.
That's amazing.
Being able to do that to they said 280-pound man. I don't know how much I believe that, but a very, very large man. Incredibly impressive. Made Jacob look great.
Yeah. It was like I said. Sometimes these car wrecks are fun. And I'll go with it today. This one was fun. Now I'm gonna go to a match which I was just totally disinterested in. I was not in it whatsoever. The Women's Intercontinental Championship match between AJ Lee and Becky Lynch. Look, if Ray Charles saw Becky Lynch getting the championship back, okay? It's just the way it is. I didn't like how the referee all of a sudden became a focal point of it. Doug, feel free to jump in there. What your take on this match?
I actually disagree with that. That was my favorite part of the match, continuing the story between Becky Lynch and Jessica Carr. I think her being a focal point is important to at least Becky's story, if not this specific story. It's very important to Becky's overall character right now. She's been feuding with Jessica for months now, and it was actually my favorite part of the match. I think it was much better than their last match. I felt their last match was god-awful. I think this match, AJ looked much better. She looked much smoother and a couple of really good spots. I loved the Black Widow getting countered into the turnbuckle. Looked nasty. AJ sold it like $1 million.
Jacob.
Easy. This was an interesting matchup to me because I thought Becky was good here as usual. I mean, she does a good job of playing the heel. She does a lot of the classic heel tactics like undoing the turnbuckle and all that. So I felt maybe if this dragged on a little bit longer, this would have been better. But it was decent on its own. So I would probably give it like 3 stars.
You're going 3. I'm going 2.5. Wayno.
Yeah, so with this particular match, and sorry about the speaker in the background if that's being disruptive, but with this particular match, it was a little bit more obvious to me that Becky Lynch was probably going to win because AJ Lee's had the one-up on Becky Lynch for 3 straight times now going into this WrestleMania in as many months, pretty much since Survivor Series. 3 wins over Becky. So at some point, Becky's got to get a win here. Also, I did have in the back of my head, again, reported by IWC that, Becky may want to call it quits eventually to possibly have another baby. So who knows? She is 37. She's approaching the twilight of her career. She says she still has, a lot in the tank, but, things that she wants to accomplish as well. And also, she's got her little kid, Rue Rollins was in attendance today watching her mom face AJ Lee for the belt. And to get to see her mom win the IC title at WrestleMania, she's at the age where she's never going to forget that. So a great moment for Rue. If not realizing it now, she'll realize how special it is later on for sure. So, let's see where we go because with Paige winning the tag title, I don't know who the next opponent will be for Becky. Maybe they run it back with AJ Lee one more time as AJ Lee was staring off towards the entrance as Becky Lynch was celebrating. So we'll see where we get there.
Yeah, I think the story between AJ and Becky sort of is done. I felt like
it's been dragged.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I think there. Hey guys, let's talk about what I consider been the match of the night, and it was in my eyes it wasn't even close. Gunther and Seth Rollins, they found a way to make chicken salad out of chicken shit here, basically because the original plan was Braun Breaker versus Seth Rollins, and Gunther didn't have an opponent. They plugged him in, and when you have these two guys, it's really hard for them to have a bad match. And when I say this is match of the night, it's not even close. This is 4.5 stars for me. Gunther, and that's like the highest you're going to get out of me for a WWE show is 4.5 stars. I think if they had more, obviously if they had a belt involved and the stakes were a little higher, I would love to see what these guys can do, like in an Iron Man match or even in a cage, or even like with a crazy stipulation. The match was just so good, and I think the one thing about Rollins that I think that we underestimate is his ability to play either side of the card, whether he's a babyface or he's a heel, and he does it with such ease, and he's able to make you believe. And I think that's what the real thing. And I like how they didn't make you forget about Heyman in this situation, and then Heyman coming out at the end with Breaker obviously doing the 75-yard sprint to the ring, the 75-yard sprint spear. Obviously you know where they're going to go next with Seth now that Breaker's back. I just don't know where they're going with Gunther, but it's good that Gunther still gets to win. A loss doesn't hurt Seth here. A win helps Gunther. So in my eyes, I'm going to go 4.5 stars. Jacob, what do you go from here?
I'm gonna go with 4.5 stars as well. I always love watching Seth Rollins. He's always entertaining on the microphone. He's always entertaining in ring. He's basically your jack of all trades, and I like that from him. Gunther is really coming into his own. I like his heel work a lot. He's a very good classical foreign heel. And in this case, it's more of the Austrian guy who just chops people to death, puts them in this sleeper hold or whatever, and just completely dominates. He has that sort of aura around him, and combining those two in this match really made for an entertaining match. Easily the best of the night, I will say it. But Braun Breaker's 75-yard spear, I watched that spear over again, and it was just boom, like that instead of an actual tackle, which was funny.
Bueno.
Yeah, so this was definitely the match of the night for sure. It was blatantly obvious. I definitely agree, 4.5 for sure as well. I have no complaints here, and we know exactly where they go. We knew that Braun Breaker was going to come back, so that was no surprise. We were waiting for that to happen. So that happened. They are now back on the timeline of where they should have been. Anyway, Seth versus Braun Breaker, they're now back on the timeline. The only difference is, who knows? This could have been for the title if Braun Breaker had stayed healthy. We don't know that. But with that being said, Gunther getting the win. Now Gunther is owed a favor from Paul Heyman. And from what I see, quite possibly, Gunther is going to be asking for Brock Lesnar. You guys have heard it first. SummerSlam, Brock Lesnar, done.
That's what I'm thinking. It's going to happen.
Doug.
Well, first I forgot to give my star rating for the AJ Becky match. I liked it a little more than a couple of you. I gave it a 3-star. For this one, I echo the same sentiment as everyone else. I gave it a 4.5. It's the match of the night. It has a potential. This combination definitely has a potential for 5-star classics. They're both incredible. Seth pulled out a couple things that were interesting to me. He's definitely been watching his Puro, his Japanese wrestling. The fighting spirit sequence was great. And then he broke out the Kojima chops in the corner, the machine gun chops. Loved it. Again, definitely amazing when the drone shot of Braun running down the ramp to hit Seth was probably the shot of the night. Camera angle of the night, shot of just it made it look a lot better on television than it was actually with his arm going over. But
so hold that thought for a second. I gotta chime in really quick. So as I seen this live, me and my friends were trying to get. We saw Braun Breaker on the top of the ramp getting ready to run. I could not pull out my phone as quick to hit the camera button and shoot the video. Before I knew it, Braun Breaker had delivered the spear. It happened so fast. He was running down that ramp incredibly fast, maybe 25 miles per hour. It was incredible. Go on.
To
And
add
by the
some
way-
context to that, I saw his Braun Breaker's scouting report card when he was coming out of college as a fullback. His 40 sprint speed was 4.57. He ran a 4.57 40 coming out of college, which is incredible. Not NFL speed, but for normal speed, incredible.
Well, what's also very interesting too was, and Wayne, obviously you were inside the building, but we talked about the camera angles, and you saw that for Braun Breaker. The entrance for the opening 6-man with Logan Paul coming to the ring with IShowSpeed and Austin Theory, it looked really cool with the split screens and all the different angles. I thought that really, really, really was a nice touch. So I thought that was really good.
We didn't notice that, unfortunately.
Yeah,
At least I didn't.
It looked cool, and it's such a little thing, but it was really, really cool. So we have a little chat group for Back Sports Page Wrestling Crew, and we were sitting there all talking. And Alyssa, who's our social media manager, really was looking forward for the Stephanie Vaquer Liv Morgan match, and it never felt like that match ever really got going. You know how sometimes there's a match on a card you just sort of lose interest in, you don't really pay much attention to, and you're hoping that it was going to pick up to draw you back in. This was that match for me. I sorry, I lost it. I was looking down, doing something on my phone and checking something. Oh, I looked up, I heard the bell ring. I was like, wait, what? Huh? Oh, all right. So with that being said, you're getting 2 stars out of me just because of Liv Morgan's awesome entrance.
You're getting 1.5 from me. That was like way too quick, like that. It was too quick for me. It was a good entrance, don't get me wrong, but it was like, holy crap. Like, it's over already? Like, there could have been a lot more substance to this.
Yeah, it felt like it was getting to the second half of the match as soon as it ended. Like, there was a little bit of a good build-up. I thought they did a couple of good sequences. The Judgment Day interference definitely took the crowd out of it, and then when it ended the match, it killed them. I think if they would have got ejected and we got 5 to 6 more minutes, I think this could have been a really, really good match. I unfortunately don't think we got that. I haven't been into this feud at all. I think there's been a lot of gross shit in it, to be quite frank. I think there's been a lot of casual racism thrown around in it. And I think it's unfortunate that these 2 talented women have been given what they have. I gave it 2 3/4 stars. I'm a lot more generous to you guys than you guys are to it. But this was the most disappointing match of the night compared to what it could have been.
Yeah. Wait, no.
Yeah, I would say, Doug, your rating's pretty fair. I mean, again, the crowd was very into it. We could have used a little bit of match time here. The pay-per-view did end a number of minutes before 7 o'clock, so I'm sure we could have gotten away with another 10 minutes on this match, and everything would have been fine. I think the match ended the way we expected it to. Because obviously we know Stephanie is the better in-ring worker. So you had to do an ending like this with the shenanigans coming in and helping out Liv Morgan for the win. So that's a believable finish for me. I think we're going to get a lot more between Stephanie and Liv Morgan come Backlash. This feud's not over, and then we'll get more wrestling out of the 2 of them.
Yeah, I sort of agree with you on that. I think that's definitely not over, especially with all the members of the Judgment Day getting involved. I think there's a lot more to it. All right, final match of the night, and if Wayne, I'm going to be as positive as I can. At least Cody's entrance looks really cool. Okay, like
yeah, that's fair.
Look, I'm a huge fan of Cody Rhodes. I think you can't not respect what he's done, not just in the business of, like, of course, me being an AW guy, helping him creating AW and doing what he's done. You respect the work that he's done with WWE. 2 of the biggest wrestling gates in 2 years in a row at WrestleMania 40 and WrestleMania 41 last year here in Vegas where he wrestled John Cena, and of course with WrestleMania 39 and WrestleMania 40 against Roman Reigns, classic, both classic matches. The Pat McAfee stuff was dumb. It was dumb. It was one thing for like all of a sudden Jelly Roll comes out of nowhere, like takes him out. And he goes, "Go ahead and have the match." You can tell Randy Orton's limited with his back injury. And then all of a sudden Pat McAfee comes back out wearing a referee shirt, and Randy Orton gives Pat McAfee the RKO, and the match sort of ends like out of nowhere. And you're just like, Like, I didn't like the John Cena Cody Rhodes match at last year's WrestleMania, and I like this match even less than that. So you're getting out of a main event at WrestleMania night one, and Wayne, you can let me know how people in the arena thought and the stadium felt about that finish. You're getting 2 stars out of me for your main event of night one.
Yeah, I'm gonna close with this, and then I have to sign off because we're about to get kicked out soon. But
us too.
The main event. The main event. So let me tell you, that was the quietest finish I've ever heard. The Mania, just everything. It was like a library. The way it was a library when the show ended, I couldn't believe it. With that being said, the match was slow moving, yet the fans were still engaged. We were also waiting for the big moments, which we kind of like really didn't get. But there was a lot of speculation of who could show up or who may not show up. And but
wait for Vince to come down here.
I mean, it wasn't really exactly on my bingo card. I mean, there's a couple things they could have done. Have Jelly Roll, do something more. The part that doesn't make sense to me was with Randy Orton giving the RKO to Pat McAfee, whom had just aligned with him 3-4 weeks ago. So that didn't make sense. So I need an explanation out of that. Come Samantha, I need an explanation there. But I really don't have much more regarding Cody Randy. I mean, this was the anticipated match, and it was just unique. Fans were into it still, regardless. But I guess from a production standpoint, if you're watching on TV, I can see why it was probably hard to watch because it was slow moving on our end, although we were still engaged. But yeah, there are a couple things that they could have done. Obviously, we're gonna get Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes again at Backlash. You know that's happening.
Maybe not
from there.
Maybe not. If Orton's back is as bad as they said it is, they may not be rushing back into the ring. I gotta ask this question too, and I think what was worse, this or last year with Cena?
I gotta be honest with you, probably just say Cena, although it's not by much. But here's the thing. I know McAfee came in and was stomping around, and like that opening with McAfee just mirroring Randy Orton was stupid as hell. Absolutely stupid. And he comes out later on with a referee shirt. But that match with John Cena was heel Cena gets a lot of flack just because of the way he's presented it. Just a lot of his moves were really drawn out, which was a problem with me. So, and that ending too, like, if I wanted to heel John Cena, I wanted him to be like dominant, not like wussified. And that was what we got at last year's WrestleMania, was a wussified John Cena who weaseled his way in and won the title. That isn't really what he was all about.
Yeah, I had actually just went back and checked my ratings for last year's WrestleMania. I gave last year's main event a half star between John Cena and Cody Rhodes, which this year's main event barely beats it out. I gave this one a 1 star. I think their chemistry is better. I think Randy's back injury clearly limited the match. For someone who is methodical, I expected a slower paced match. I was expecting a 20-25 minute match where everything gets ramped up towards the end. The finisher sequence got the crowd back into it. They were still into the kickouts, like Wayne was saying. But this was just the Pat ship brought it down. absolutely. But the match itself, even ignoring all of the shenanigans with Pat, it just didn't work. It just wasn't coming together properly.
Just imagine if this would have been night 2 main event. Can you imagine if
Oh
this
my
would have
gosh.
this would have been the last impression that you would have gotten out of WrestleMania? Triple H would have been like they would have escorted him out of the building. Fans would have like came in, went into the grills position with pitchforks, and they would have taken Triple H out of the building. Like hopefully
Triple H
tomorrow
would have been on LinkedIn tomorrow looking for a job.
Listen,
Open for work.
you know as
Open for
much as
work.
I do that Roman Reigns and CM Punk will not let like something like that happen. They will,
No.
and especially, and you know Heyman will have his. Even if Heyman is not out there, he will have his fingertips all over, his fingerprints all over this match.
There's a plot tomorrow. I just don't know what it is. It could be 2 or 3 different plots, but there's a plot tomorrow.
I think it has something to do with the Usos turning or the Bloodline getting back together, or I just can't see CM Punk leaving with the belt. But I think something is going to happen. Or if he does leave with that belt, like, can you imagine if CM Punk turns heel and joins the Vision?
That would actually give the Vision some credibility.
Yes.
If he actually did that, a lot of credibility.
And then you are able to seriously have CM Punk versus Seth Rollins and Rollins be the babyface and Punk be the heel. Oh, that'd be absolutely.
So we predicted that on our podcast about a month ago. Maybe a little more about the possibility of Punk maybe becoming heel and joining the Vision, which would help, definitely help the Vision propel themselves through the summer. But now that you have Braun Breaker coming back, do we need to do CM Punk? I don't know. The only thing that holds me back from the possibility of thinking that CM Punk will be part of the Vision is because he's been going on for weeks telling Roman that, hey, you've been able to get the job done by yourself. So if CM Punk I don't see CM Punk doing what he's been calling Roman Reigns out for doing for a number of years during his title reign.
We got a comment here. This Mania felt rushed more about sponsors. Total ring time was about an hour and a half. I don't know if it was only about an hour and a half of ring time, but yeah, there was definitely.
There were only 2 matches that went over 10 minutes. The Gunther Seth match and the main event. The main event went 22. Gunther Seth went 15. Everything else went between 7 and 9 minutes. So hour and a half is probably about right.
That's crazy.
Well,
That's crazy.
I will tell you that the main event, I told you I gave it a very, very low rating. But I think, Doug, I told you, and maybe I told Wayne, and I think I told all you guys, I looked at the card for night 1, and night 2 obviously is going to be a better card. So obviously if we come back here tomorrow night, Wayne, whatever you have planned for tomorrow night, us being back here on this show or doing however we do it, I think the opinion of tomorrow night will be a lot better than it was for night 1.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I would say so.
I hope for that crowd's
Absolutely.
sake. I hope for that 50,000 people, their sake, because when they showed people leave, I'd never seen a stadium empty that quickly after a show.
Nobody wasted their time getting out of here for sure. This parking lot's been cleared out quick. I mean, it's not a very big parking lot. It's not even half the size of MetLife, to be honest. And again, that's attributed to people that travel to Vegas here. Everybody's tourism and staying on the strip, so nobody really needs cars unless you want to venture off to Hoover Dam or something like that, like we're gonna do this week. I would expect tomorrow to be a better finish for night 2. Has to be because Triple H could be on a chopping block if we don't get a good finish tomorrow.
Yep. And meanwhile, MJF somewhere is licking his fingertips, sitting there saying, "Get me my belt back." That's right. I had to say it.
And my match.
And my match. Yeah. All right. So Wayno, get out of there safe. Get back to your hotel, gentlemen. Night 1 in the books. Tomorrow night, night 2. We'll see how we go. CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, the 6-man ladder match.
That's going to be my match of the weekend, I'm expecting.
And the match that Wayne is looking forward to the most, Rhea Ripley versus Jade Cargill. I know Wayne is looking forward to that match more than anything in the world.
Oba Femi Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar. Then I might leave after that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Obviously, guys, keep listening to the Aftermath podcast. Subscribe to the show. Leave it a review. Let us know that you like what you're doing. Let us know that you like what Wayne is doing with the crew. Backsportspage.com. We'll see you tomorrow night after night 2 of WrestleMania.
Agility from the champion. Uh-oh!